communication in an organization, right? So let's get started. I'm going to present my screen to you all. And today we are going to discuss the flow of communication. In the last class, what first I will revise what we did in the last class. So let's see. Yeah. First, we um, discussed the different levels of communication. Under that category, we looked at the features of extrapersonal communication, intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, organizational communication, and mass communication we are going to cover today. So, why we were doing this levels of communication, what we observed that in interpersonal communication is communication that take place between 2 to 4 people, right, in a small group. And students, from your point of view, why it is important. Now, I want to ask you all why it is important to focus on our interpersonal communication skills. बताइए क्यों लगता है कि हमें इंटरपर्सनल कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स में इम्प्रूव करनी चाहिए. Yes, students, come on, tell me. Can you all see my screen?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now is it visible?
No, ma'am.
No, still not. Now it is, I'm sure. Can't you?
Yes, ma'am. It is
Yes.
visible.
So, what we discussed in the
I'm visible.
visible, right? Now, in the earlier class, we discussed different levels of communication, and that we discussed that humans, when communicate with non-human things, not like communicating with alarm clock or animals or giving a response to a notification or alerts, that is extra personal level of communication. And I even told that in today's time and age, it has become essential. It has become important that we limit our hours on mobile and other electronic gadgets because that is having a certain effect on our real relations. Giving too much time on virtual uh, things is having a negative impact on our real relations with the people around us, right? So after that, what we discussed was intrapersonal level, which a person, when a person communicates with himself or herself, when an individual talks to oneself, and that often leads to development of a personality, that leads to the making, that leads to evolution of a person's personality. You get to know your weaknesses and your strength. So it is also important that you communicate
Hello. Lancho.
हाँ मन
हाँ क्या मैं बोली नहीं नहीं मैसेज ही करते हैं होगी
प्रियांशु प्रियांशु
हाँ हाँ।
कब तक यार चूतिया बस झेलना पड़ेगा।
अबे रिकॉर्डिंग पे है भाई, रुक जाओ अभी।
अबे रिकॉर्डिंग पे तो उठेगा हुआ यार।
क्या बताया, जैसा भी यूनिवर्सिटी के नेटवर्क
तो
से
समय
कनेक्ट
बर्बाद
है।
करते रहे रिकॉर्डिंग पे तो।
क्या बताया जाए भाई, सब यूनिवर्सिटी के ही नेटवर्क पे हैं, किसी का आता ही नहीं है।
गजब चूतिया चल रहा है यार। अलग सिस्टम है।
आज फोन करो शाम में,
हाँ
लिलीपुट को आज फोन करो शाम में।
हाँ हाँ उठा।
Hmm. Yes, students. I lost the connection for a while. Is it fine, students?
यस मैम।
So what is the thing that you have to keep in mind when you are informing your authorities, when you're informing the seniors? आपको बहुत politely, that is a skill. Is my screen visible, students? No, no?
नो
नो मैम।
मैम।
Just a minute.
मैम आर यू टेकिंग क्लास फ्रॉम यूनिवर्सिटी?
Yes, why? What is the problem?
नो मैम, नेटवर्क इशू।
Oh, why? Okay, okay, yes, that is at times it
मैम
does happen.
यूनिवर्सिटी नेटवर्क इज वेरी पेन्यूरियस।
No, but we are working on it and it will get better. Don't worry. Don't worry. And there are shortcomings everywhere, we know that. And at times, it's a very big setup. So to manage things smoothly is difficult. At the same time, we always cannot blame the institution that it is not providing you the right kind of facilities. And they are trying. And at times, and as there is always because of the lockdown, there is shortage of people, where the staff is not coming on time, and a few of them are unwell. So there are a lot many issues, but still they are trying, and it's improved. I'm sure after a day or so, things will be better. Just don't worry about that. Right? Okay. Now, uh, an upward flow of communication. Now, students, as I told you, कि when you have to speak to your seniors, right? So right now, see what happened, students. You all that was upward flow of communication, right? And you were trying to tell me that in university the internet connection is not that great, right? So there was a point of time, students. I tackled your problem, and at the same time, what you faced, right, is genuine, right? And it's good that you people are voicing the issues you're facing, right? Similarly, students, when you are working at a workplace, there are issues and you have to discuss it with your seniors. How to do that? Now, students, that the we will do later, but point that you should keep in mind that you have to be polite, you have to be courteous. At the same time, you have to you have to completely state your problem as well, right? If you don't do that, how will it be solved, right? To do so, you should state your problems, and that too depends on the culture. If it is an open ended culture, when the upward communication is allowed, then you can speak. Otherwise, when there is not allowed, there is authoritative kind of um, setup there through grapevine. What is grapevine? Informal flow of communication, right? The message flows in that organization. Okay, so now let's see this. What are the merits of upward flow of communication? Information about your finances, accounts, information about your problems and exceptions, suggestions for improvement, information about grievances, disputes, and all these uh, information flows through merits of upward communication. Is that okay? Now, what are the demerits? As I said, that there's always fear of superiors. जो आपके seniors होते हैं उसका fear होता है. So what happens? To transfer the exact information, truthful information, is a necessity, right? But does it happen? No. Most of the time, the lower rank officials are scared. For what? Because they fear the that they might get fired, or the authority may get offended. So these are the fears that stops the lower rank officials to share the situation as it is. At the same time, if they don't do it, the authority may penalize them then even for not informing, right? So, what we have to learn, the art and skill to state the things in a polite, courteous, and a complete manner, right? Now, what are the other demerits? Time lag between the communication and the action can inhibit. At times, what does this problem mean? It means, suppose the lower rank official states a problem to the higher authority, and the higher authority doesn't take action for long, suspends the problem, doesn't take any action. It suspended for a longer time, and then that gap is increasing continuously. What happens? The lower rank official loses interest. As a result, the the gap between the two increases. Now, third point, defensive replies of authorities. At times, if you have any, the lower rank official has a certain problem, a certain issue, but the higher authority doesn't first before this the higher authority doesn't take action, or it is very slow in taking action. So the lower rank official loses interest. Now, the third thing is, when the lower rank official approach the higher authorities and higher authorities give defensive replies. What are the defensive replies? Okay, fine. We are working on it. We will see to it. Hmm. Oh, is it? So such type of responses are defensive replies. They can also be a sentence or a two. Like if you say about you have a proposal in mind and you go to your boss and discuss, and as I say, that boss wants to give a defensive reply. The high authority may say, we have already tried and it didn't work. So that sort of reply even uh, stops you stops you from making further attempts. Right now, fourth type of the fourth type is the administrator doesn't respond. You tell something, you report something, and there is no response. And this we have studied earlier. When there is no response, there is miscommunication. Right? Now, last, physical barriers. Physical barriers here, I mean, you don't have any approach to meet the higher authority. There are so many channels in between. You have to get the application forwarded so many times that you think, forget it. Why? Because somewhere in the middle, if somebody doesn't forward the application, how will you talk to the high authority? If there are so many hurdles in between to meet the highest authority, how will you meet? So, such all these problems create hurdles in the flow of communication in upward direction. Now, students, आपसे मैंने पूछा कि what what is polite and courteous way. तो polite and courteous way का जैसे आपको ये होता है कि आप किसी से डायरेक्ट वे में क्वेश्चन पूछ लेते हैं कि what do you that you make a direct question. Direct question is when you're using WH words. What are you doing? Where do you live? Do you know about this? Or when you begin with an auxiliary, do you know? This is quite direct. Huh? And how to make the same thing indirect? I wonder if you could help me with this. I if you could tell me what are you doing, or do you mind if I ask you what are you doing, right? So if you use such phrases before the question, do you mind? I wonder if you're free, you could help me, right? So in this indirect way, you ask something, it becomes more polite. Okay. Now, to improve your upward flow of communication, there are various solutions. The open door policy, as a term itself is the term itself is self-explanatory. The open door policy, that my door is always open for you to come and discuss your problems. In this sort of situation, the lower rank official has the liberty कि वो किसी भी हायर अथॉरिटी से जाके बात कर सके. इसके एक ड्रॉबैक भी इससे ये होता है कि जो इमीडिएट उसके ऊपर अथॉरिटी है, द पर्सन कैन bypass. So what happens? The bad relations may develop. The bad relations may develop between the lower rank official and the immediate authority. Uh, and the immediate authority. So that becomes a problem, right? So it is very essential that um, okay, students, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Students are right, and the screen is visible, right?
No, my screen is not visible.
Oh, why don't you people tell me in between? So this is the role of open door policy. Now, students, next point is you see counseling, attitude questionnaires, and exit interviews. All these practices even improve the upward flow of communication in an organization. Let's understand what each term means. Counseling is when the representatives of the company get talk, get into communication with the officers in about the problem. By doing so, resolve the issues in between. Right? अगर किसी lower rank official को if they have any sort of problem and if they consult a higher rank officer to entangle or to resolve those problems and issues, it is it betters the relation between the higher and lower rank official. Right? Then there are attitude questionnaires. As a policy, a few companies have made certain questionnaires, and every month or whatever the practice, every quarter, they fill in their opinions, right? Through that, a lot of feedback is collected from each and every individual, and this practice again helps in improving the relationship among the workforce. It also helps in resolving the conflicts and problems that arise between the workforce while working together. Now, the last exit interviews. This means that when a person is quitting from a job, he then also he undergoes a process of interview. Usually, that interview is taken from the person of HR department, and the purpose of that interview is to find out the reason why that person is quitting that job. On finding the reasons why he's quitting that job, it helps an organization to work on the issues so that the existing employee do not face those issues and a company can grow and make the environment more conducive and better for other employees there. So this is the objective of exit interview. Moreover, if during the process of interview the HR department finds that the rift, that the gap created between the employer and employee can be bridged, they make an effort, because it is not good to lose your employees. If you, because you built a relation, you built a certain kind of uh, and you get dependent, and for any misunderstanding, understanding that gets that is quite natural, that is natural, that it at times creep. And if that, so in the associations, at times there are meetings organized, there are group discussions organized on a certain topic. When these sort of techniques are applied to make a decision, to take a decision, uh, it can be anything for any sort of requirements, or for any sort of need, like meetings or group discussions are organized, and that the employees voice express their views and ideas. So that also gathers upward flow of communication. That also gathers views and ideas from workers, from working at lower rank officials. And then I also mentioned this term, the grapevine. Grapevine is the communication. Rumors, ये grapevine होती है. What is communication in law of communication में क्या, what is the term? Grapevine. इसका क्या मतलब है कि जो आपके employees हैं, they are info and are discussing the issues and problems of an organization. That travels, that also travels in an organization, because the grapevine is formed at according to um, personal relations of personal relations among the employees. The grapevine is structured according to the personal relations of employees, and due to which a certain pattern is formed. People who are the employees
हेलो मैम,
working in, हाँ बताइए.
स्क्रीन नॉट विजिबल मैम. कैन यू शेयर पीडीएफ इन ग्रुप मैम?
Screen is not visible. See, ये आपको to improve up UFC नहीं दिख रहा, upward flow of communication.
नो मैम.
No, ma'am. Screen is not visible.
अच्छा, मेरे को तो दिख रहा है बिल्कुल कि stop sharing. Meet google.com में sharing your screen लिख के आ रहा है.
Ma'am, your screen
It
is
is showing.
visible.
Yes, that's what it is showing, that the screen is visible. अगर
I
आपको
think
कोई
they have
problem,
network error.
हाँ, your network, there is some network with your, there is some network issues, beta, because it's written on my screen. Meet.google.com is sharing your screen, right? शायद मैं बहुत आप लोग थोड़ा सा ये पढ़िए तो ये आपको समझ में आएगा. वो काफी लॉन्ग एक्सप्लेनेशन
To
हो गया.
improve upward flow of communication.
Yes, yes, absolutely right, absolutely right. तो इसमें वो लॉन्ग एक्सप्लेनेशन हो गया. देखिए मैं अब आपको एक डायग्राम दिखाती हूँ तो आपको समझ में आएगा. जैसे चलिए एक एग्जांपल देते हैं. आप एक एमएसएमई डिपार्टमेंट में पढ़ते हैं, राइट? लेकिन आपके कुछ फ्रेंड्स दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट में भी हैं, और जब आप अपने डिपार्टमेंट की बात दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट के स्टूडेंट से करते हैं, तो एक इंफॉर्मेशन फ्लो होती है ना, कि आपने किस तरीके से प्रैक्टिकल किए, वो लोग किस तरीके से प्रैक्टिकल कर रहे हैं, वहां पे फैकल्टी कैसे सिखा रही है, यहाँ की फैकल्टी कैसे सिखा रही है. हम कंपैरिजन करते हैं ना, कभी कभी हम इंटरनली करते हैं, कभी हम एक्सटर्नली करते हैं, दूसरे इंस्टीट्यूट्स के टीचर्स उनसे करते हैं. तो ये जो फ्लो ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन है जो इनफॉर्मल में हो रहा है उसको हम ग्रेप वाइन कहते हैं। और इसमें फॉर्मल क्या होता है स्टूडेंट्स, जब आप फॉर्मली किसी इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, कोई टेक्निकल फेस्ट जहां पे इंटर स्कूल कंपटीशन होता है, इंटर कॉलेज कंपटीशन होता है, या हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में इंटरनली अगर आप देखें कभी कभी हम डिपार्टमेंट वाइज कोई क्विजेस या कुछ कराते हैं, तो दैट इज विद इन एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, राइट? सो दीज आर डिफरेंट सॉर्ट्स ऑफ ways through which information travels। ठीक है, ये आपको समझ में आ रहा है? So now this is what open door policy, I'll read, for fostering better working environment। एक अच्छे एनवायरमेंट को बिल्ड करने के लिए एक कंड्यूसिव, एक एमिकेबल एनवायरमेंट को, प्रोफेशनल एनवायरमेंट को बिल्ड करने के लिए the lower rank officials are encouraged to communicate freely with higher authorities as the term implies। The employees with their managers, directors or higher rank officials can discuss problems, provide suggestions or discuss any sort of workplace concerns without worrying of the position in the chain of command। तो जब हम अपने कंसर्न्स किसी हायर अथॉरिटी से डिस्कस करते हैं विदाउट गेटिंग डिस्करेज कि हमारी रैंक क्या है, दैट इज ओपन डोर पॉलिसी, राइट? और ये सब मैं आपके साथ डिस्कस कर चुकी हूँ, आप लोग पढ़ लीजिए इसको, राइट? Encourages employees to communicate with senior officials freely, develops an environment of trust and mutual respect between employer and employee, aids in boosting morale of the employees, strengthens the team spirits, aids in growth and progress। अब disadvantages क्या है of open door policy? Undervaluing less than perfect suggestion of employees। ओपन डोर पॉलिसी के डिसएडवांटेजेस ये हैं कि कोई चीज जो लेस देन परफेक्ट हो उसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया जाता है। हेजिटेशन ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज, फियर ऑफ सुपीरियर्स, डिसऑनेस्टी ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज। आपको बताया कि at times employees are dishonest because of fear of superiors, bypassing of immediate authority, ये भी आपसे डिस्कस किया। Tension and strife between employees and middle employment, this also we discussed, right? Now through these model, this I have discussed, so I'm going to skip this slide. So here all this participative techniques I discussed with you people, so I'm going to skip this slide. Now these are the features of grapevine. And see students, I was showing you the diagram, this is grapevine. Now you got it? Now what are the different patterns we see of grapevine? ये देखिए, single stranded from one end to another। एक ने दूसरे को बताया, दूसरे ने तीसरे को, तीसरे ने चौथे को, और चौथे ने पांचवे को, पांचवे ने छठे को। तो आप देख रहे हैं कि from first to the sixth to the person at last, each one was transferring information from another। और ये देखिए गॉसिप चेन, एक पर्सन ने सबको जाके बता दिया। जैसे कि आपको किसी के बारे में कुछ पता चला और आप जाके सबको बता दिया, दैट इज, दिस इज अनदर सॉर्ट ऑफ पैटर्न। और इसको क्या बोला है हमने? प्रोबेबिलिटी। कि आपको कोई बात, सपोज यू आर पर्सन ए and you are friendly on the basis of your personal relations, you are friendly with another two persons, maybe they are of your department or other department, that is not necessary that they, all the people with whom you share information are of your department, they may be from different departments, so you go and share the information with two different individuals and leave some. Like in this situation, see, probability, you don't discuss this an issue with person B, but you go and discuss with F and D. After and later, these two people share information with another two fellows on the basis of the personal relation, and they do not share it all. They leave a few, select a few. So this is another probability, which this is another pattern, and what we call is probability. Next pattern, what we see, a flow of informal communication, is cluster. That one person goes and tell to a group of people, and that group of people further transmits the information, and then the individual from that group of people tell another group of people, and again an individual from that group of people tells to another group of people. So this is transmission of information in cluster pattern. And in probability pattern, an individual selects a few from a group and tells to that and tells to a few members and leaves a few members. Again, the person, the individual who's selected, he further selects a few and deselects a two. So there's probability that he may tell to another individual, and he further may select another individual and leave another. So this is the third pattern of probability. And gossip chain is pattern in which one person goes and inform all. And single standard pattern is one person tells to the another, another tells to the next, another fellow, and this pattern follows in a linear manner, and the information reaches to the last person. So these are the different patterns of informal flow of communication. Okay, now then there is horizontal flow of communication, when the message flows between individuals and groups on the same level, when the employees working at same level exchange information, that is horizontal. And what are the merits of horizontal? It bridges the time gap, it enhances the coordination among members, and it resolves conflicts in less time. Right? And what are the demerits? Demerits are rise of negative tendencies. Like employees working at same level may have the feeling of competition, may have the feeling of jealousy with each other. So that may result in the hindrance of the smooth flow of communication. Whereas, which is exactly opposite, contrary to the merit, because if people overcome these negative tendencies as they are working in the same rank, it helps you to coordinate in a better manner, function in a better manner, and it even bridges the time gap. Okay, so this is all from my side, students. Any doubt in the flow of communication today? Any problem? Fine. So this is from my side. And now, students, I request you all to upload your attendance on my WhatsApp number.